What up, Retcon fam? It is your boy Trey. If this is your first time joining us here at Retcon, welcome. Please like, subscribe, comment. If this is not your first time joining us here at Retcon, thank you so much for your continued support. So yeah, I want to jump right into it. The Flash. Man, before the movie came out, there was a screening at CineCon, and a lot of the word coming out of CineCon was that this is the best movie since The Dark Knight, at least that DC has had. I don't know if I disagree with that. It's not as good as The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is just in a class of its own. But this movie, it managed to subvert any of the expectations that I had. I gotta start off and say Ezra Miller, man, a controversial figure. But in this movie, he was great. One of my criticisms of Ezra from the Justice League, and I think it was kind of cleared up a little bit with Zack Snyder's Justice League, but one of the criticisms is that the Flash was really goofy and silly. And is the Flash still goofy and silly? Well, yes and no. I don't want to give any spoilers away. I really don't. And if I'm being honest, I feel like whatever I say, it's going to give it away. And I don't want to, because this movie is not at all what I was anticipating. I have some real questions about how this fits into the future DCU, because by the time the film wraps, I don't know. But it has shades of like Back to the Future, and it's not shying away from it either, man. The time travel was done really well. This movie took turns that I didn't expect it to take. Now, part of it is, once James Gunn came around, there were changes made, and I feel like you can see what those changes were, but it was really well done. I really thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I can't wait to have a spoiler discussion, which we're going to have posted up in a couple of days. I want to give people the time to see the movie, including my Retcon cohorts, Josh and Doc, and I'm interested to see what they think about it. But I definitely enjoyed this movie. And I felt like there were some difficult things that they had to do to make this work. I feel like they accomplished it. Andy Muschietti, man, I see what the excitement is about over at DC. Now, I'm going to say this. The CGI was trash. The CGI was terrible. I mean, it was terrible to a point to where every time something popped up that was CGI, and obviously, this is one of the problems that these superhero movies have developed over the last couple of years, where there's going to be this huge CGI battle, and they're doing this thing now. It's funny because when you go back and you listen to some of the criticisms of the Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds, one of them were his CGI suit. But for some reason, they're doing all of these CGI suits for these superheroes now. So either the Green Lantern suit wasn't that bad, and if I look back at it now compared to some of the stuff that we're getting, some of this CGI was just awful. It was really awful. You kind of, at some point in the movie, have to make the decision that it's not going to bother you anymore. There's one particular shot, and this was in the trailers, and I only watched a few trailers, but there's one particular shot of Barry in the Flash costume, and it's like he's all bubbly and like, I'm talking about physically, he's like bubbly and round and almost looks like balloonish and Play-Doh-ish, and it doesn't get any better than that. And I think the costumes overall, if I have a criticism about Andy Muschietti in the art direction, and I'm not sure who did the art direction for this movie or who did the costuming for this movie, but we have got to simplify these costumes, man. I mean, the fact that you have Michael Keaton as Batman and Ben Affleck as Batman, and neither one of them can turn their heads in the costume is a problem, man. Especially since we've seen Ben Affleck turn his head beautifully in Batman vs. Superman. Beautifully. And that was probably the best Batman suit that we've had to date. I could argue the Michael Keaton suits, but the practicality has to come back. Please, comic book filmmakers, chill with the CGI, man, because it does not look good. And as heavy as that criticism is on the movie, if I remove that, and I'm just talking about story, I'm talking about acting, I'm talking about surprises, I'm talking about just quality of the film and how I felt when I left the theater, man, it was really cool. But if I had to give it a score, 9.2 out of 10. I really enjoyed this movie. Before I go, this movie is 2 hours and 30 minutes long. It does not feel 2 hours and 30 minutes long. It flew by, man. But this movie is really, really good. I feel like the pace could have been slowed a little bit. Things just kind of moved really, really, really fast. But I highly recommend The Flash. If you enjoy the content that we're making, please like, please comment, please subscribe and share. People still share content, right? Share. These are ways that we build this channel. These are ways that we become really, really good friends with the algorithm, and our content can get exposed to the larger viewing audience. So with that being said, until next time.